I'm going to grab some water real quick. Hang on a second.
Okay.
So I do need to at least ask how the trip was.
It was great. It was a great trip.
And it was pleasure or pleasure? You know, you said it was pleasure and business, right?
Well, fortunately, even when I'm in business, because I did live workshops, which is my favorite thing to do. So,
okay.
So yeah, it was all pleasure. Some of it being business oriented.
Okay, that's a good answer. And at one point in time, I want to talk to you about potentially going to a class to get certified as a, I don't have any, hurry to do that, but, do you do that, or who do you recommend that does it?
I have a couple of folks that I generally recommend, and I'll send you that information to look at. So go ahead and close your eyes, Chuck. Take a deep breath in and hold it, and let it go. Now just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed, allowing yourself to feel yourself connected to your chair, feet on the floor, whatever connection you have. Feeling that connection, allowing yourself to feel centered and grounded, allowing yourself to be right here, right now, as present as possible, so as to receive maximum benefit from this hour. And just following your breath through your body, just allow yourself to be aware of what's going on in there. Notice what you're feeling physically and what you're feeling emotionally, especially as you think about this, that part of you that feels like you haven't been productive. And at the same time, also allowing yourself to acknowledge that it was your goal for several weeks to go live, and allowing yourself to acknowledge that that's a huge check mark. And now looking at what's next, what actions do you need to take in order to feel that you finished this year well? And notice where there might be resistance. Notice what you feel. Notice what thoughts, beliefs, and memories come up as to why you couldn't or shouldn't take action and achieve results. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Open your eyes. And let me know what's going on in there.
I mean, this going live is like, so here's an interesting thought. In trading, they talk about euphoria being a counterproductive emotion. And so I want to put this in context that I'm excited, and I think euphoria is an emotion that is, I don't know if it's on a different plane. I think it is. How I would describe it is, excitement is a part of that whole joy, love, peace. I think excitement's in that realm. Mm-hmm. Euphoria to me is not. It is an over exuberance that can defray and make you like live in the past kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the term of euphoria suggests a certain amount of not being clear-headed in the moment.
Right, right.
Yeah. Whereas excitement, I can be totally enjoying myself and excited about what's happening and be very focused. Yeah, euphoria suggests that I'm a little bit out of my mind.
And if you just won the lottery, I think euphoria would be appropriate. But
Yeah, there are times where it's fine,
yeah,
but
you know,
yeah,
it,
at the
or
end of the Super Bowl, you can be have euphoria. In the middle of the game, it's not
yeah,
it's not
right.
appropriate.
And then you got to regroup because the next goal is coming. So here's my point. I'm very excited, and I'm going to allow this to be a springboard into the psychological part of the game. So
Yeah,
I'm going to start trading live. Um, Really, the only purpose to trade not live is to learn, make sure you know how to do. You have the fundamentals down, and you
yeah,
know how to do, so you don't make mistakes.
right.
But after that, it becomes counterproductive because it's staying in your comfort zone. And so I'm going to move into live trading tomorrow. And today, I am going to. Oh, and I didn't finish saying, I'm using your. I went and found videos that are analogous to, the hiccups in trading. One of them's being too cocky and all. Just I'm gonna create in this next week, really in the next couple of days, a model for myself to to work on and uncover and work on um, joyfully, um, not to scare or beat up myself or anything like that, but just tendencies I might have that could be counterproductive, and work on growth in those areas.
Yeah.
I that was you in my head, by the way, that brought that caveat there. So that's what, and I'm going to keep it simple. Um, Trade, just trade joyfully. I'm gonna trade joyfully is what I'm gonna do. So
Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, I'm going to trade live tomorrow.
I'm gonna trade live tomorrow.
Just let that rattle around inside and notice the different thoughts and feelings that come up. Say, I'm going to trade joyfully.
I'm gonna trade joyfully.
And let that rattle around. And notice on a scale of 0 to 10 how true that can feel. Don't judge yourself harshly if the number's not at a 10 or 11. Just recognize, okay, there may be some parts of you that are like, yeah, it's a nice idea, but just allow yourself to be aware of what sensations, what emotions come up, what thoughts,
Well,
beliefs,
I
and
would
numbers.
say I'm at a 6 or a 7,
Okay.
and I do have, right here where I get my trepidation kind of
Yeah.
feelings. I feel them right here, and on a scale of 1 to 10, that's at a 4. So it's real. I mean, it's not if and it's good that I'm noticing that, because I have this excitement.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you have excitement, you are surprised a little bit by the level of resistance slash trepidation, if you will, of the ensuing task. I've found that as we work together, that I mean, the cleansing never goes away, the clearing never goes away. You have this idea that you're going to get tapping, and all of a sudden it magically disappears. That doesn't happen.
You know, in very rare occasions, but there's a miraculous shift, but it's always, you know, more often it's more piece by piece. And that's the key, is that we get so excited that we ignore the resistance. And that's why so many people don't achieve their goals. And they sit there and go, I'm totally excited about the idea of writing my book, producing a movie, having starting my business, doing this. I don't know why it's not happening,
Yeah.
because they convince themselves that they're so excited that there's no resistance. And the resistance is like, it's fine. You just go ahead and think all those things, and we're going to keep you safely in your comfort zone.
Right. I've worked with a number of people, and they chose out um, of tapping because of they didn't like thinking about the negative stuff. It's
Yeah.
a kind of Pollyannish.
What you resist persists, and they will get to stay safely in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you know, it's the analogy I use a lot of times is, you know, I don't want to look at the negative. It's like, well, if your dog poops on your carpet, are you just going to sit there and talk about, you know, and just look at where the carpet is clean and just go,
Right.
I refuse to acknowledge that there's any poop there,
Yeah.
because you're going to step in it and spread it around.
Yeah.
And you're kidding yourself. You're also kidding yourself to say, I'm not giving it any attention, because a big chunk of your mind is sitting there focused on that poop.
Right. I find that when I ignore it, for me, it submerges. And I think it's more powerful at that place than it is unsubmerged. And I'm dealing with it, even
Yeah.
though it still exists, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at poop and going, there's poop there, I'm going to clean it up, is one thing. But to try to ignore it, then you get
Yeah.
into this whole thing of, I don't want to look at the negative. I'm so upset that I allowed my dog to do that. And becomes all kinds of trouble. It's like, it happened, clean it up, move on. So, and just recognize that, yeah, some people they're going to find excuses as to why they can't look at it. And it's like, oh, no, looking at the negative gets in the way. It's like, no, it gets it out of the way. You got to get the stuff out of the road. You have to acknowledge the roadblocks in order to move forward. So,
So let me just clarify about
yeah,
this
yeah,
at least last couple of weeks to give you, um, I mean, I went into a funk, and, um, and I didn't tap, um, much. I did a little here and there,
yeah,
but so, um, and I didn't do my checklist. After I got sick, I got out of the habit because I didn't do it when I was sick.
mhm,
And so the other second thing um, that I'm going to commit to is, um, you know, my daily check sheet. Like on my check sheet, there's um, I've got it down as like morning. I have morning ritual, and it's a series of things that, you know, I'm not going to put all of those on my list. Just some of them are pedantic kind of things like brushing your teeth and stuff like that.
okay, yeah,
So, but I'm gonna make my list separate, and I'm gonna look at that. I can't check this one until I've checked off all of this one. So I'm not avoiding the detail of each of these. It's just, you know, brush your teeth, take a shower, all the sequencing of things, because quite frankly, I get, you know, like this, and all of a sudden I'm 6 o'clock
yeah,
at night and I haven't brushed my teeth. I mean, that sounds, um, you know, unreal, but it's
yeah.
not. Just
So with things that you would normally do, brushing your teeth, bathing, eating meals, those you don't need to put on there. The habit tracker is for those habits that you want to instill that move you towards being who you want to be.
oh, okay,
So, you know, yeah, I don't have brushing teeth because those I'm just going to do because it's a
okay,
matter of survival. It's
mhm.
those things that I could get away with not doing. You're not going to get away without brushing your teeth for very long.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can get away for a lifetime without tapping. and without doing, setting up your schedule for trading and all these different things. Whatever, there are these habits that you can have on a daily basis that will move you towards your goals, but you don't need to reach your goals. No one needs to. It's in order to. We will do the things that affect our survival, like brushing teeth and eating. You don't need to put breathing on your checklist. You're just gonna do that. It's those things that, if nobody was checking and you weren't really focused on your goals, you would just leave off. So that's why having things on there like tapping, and on days that you're sick, if you do anything, don't worry about it. It's like, okay, well, I'm sick, so I'm just not going to do anything on there. It's like, there may be some things on there that you can do anyway, even if it's just like a minute of tapping or whatever else might be on there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not an all or nothing. It's like, if I don't check off everything on that day, then I'm just not even going to bother. That day's a failure. Not at all. You mark off, and it's not, the habit tracker is not there to shame you. It's not there to say, well, you didn't do everything on there. It's like, no, I'm just keeping track, and I'm noticing. And if I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to get certain things done. I may not have my exercise routine because my body is weak. So just acknowledging that.
But tapping something that you could do a tap if you don't feel well in a minute. So I chose not to, and I could have chosen to do that.
And don't shame yourself over that. Just to look at it and go, isn't that it? So close your eyes, take a deep breath. And just following your breath with your body, notice what goes on inside. Say, if I were more consistent with my tapping, ...
If I was more consistent with my tapping,
what would happen?
This is a future question, right?
Just in general right now. What if I were, so looking at why you didn't tap consistently over the last couple of weeks?
I mean, the biggest thing that comes to my mind is that I could interrupt resistant ridden cycles and accomplish more. I mean, that sounds obvious, but
Yeah. So again, Chuck, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, and that's why I stopped myself from tapping.
Say that again.
And that's why I stopped myself from tapping. With your eyes closed.
Okay.
With your eyes closed, I'm thinking about, if I had been tapping more consistently, I'd be moving past resistance.
Okay. I understand the question now. I didn't understand.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's always asked to get clarity, because sometimes when I say things, they don't always come out clear. Especially when I'm in a foreign country and I use pop cultural references from America.
Yeah. I dated a girl from Mexico, and I used slang words to give definitions of slang words. It didn't work very well. So, yeah. But anyway,
so looking at that, recognizing there's a part of you that stopped you from tapping, knowing that tapping would help you move towards your goals. Part of you said, yeah, let's not do that. So just allowing that to rattle around inside, and ask yourself, being compassionate and curious rather than judgmental and shaming, and go, okay, what were you afraid would happen? What are you protecting yourself from? Self-sabotage is misguided self-love. What were you protecting yourself from?
Yeah. You have money out there that you can lose, and I think that is a bigger issue than I want to believe that it is. That oh yeah, so I think that's a pretty big deal right there. That just fear of loss.
Yeah.
Fear of, I'm trying to think if I'm gonna turn off my computer here. I apologize, but it's really distracting me. I've got all my trading stuff up,
Oh,
and
okay.
I need to. What? Oh, how is that happening? Oh, that's how it is happening. The number key on my computer was just going nuts, and I'm like, what? And I couldn't figure out why, but now I know why. All right, there we go. But I mean, I think that's probably. I'm trying to think if fear of success is
Yeah,
a piece of that as well.
usually is.
Yeah.
Let's just jump in there. So close your eyes again
Okay.
and just feel, because when we were talking about you trading, going live with trading tomorrow, you had a fear in your chest at about a 4. Just check in and see if that's what it still feels like.
I mean, I feel like it's dropped a little bit, just maybe to a 3.
Okay. So side of the hand. Even though I'm feeling this fear,
Even though I'm feeling this fear,
I choose to love and accept myself.
I choose to love and accept myself.
Even though I'm feeling this fear,
Even though I'm feeling this fear,
I choose to love and honor myself.
I choose to love and honor myself.
Even though I feel this fear,
Even though I feel this fear,
as I think about going live with my trading,
as I think about going live with my trading,
because I've been anticipating this for some time.
well, I've been anticipating this for some time.
I've made a big deal out of this.
I've made a big deal out of this.
And now I got to put my money where my mouth is.
Now I got to put my money where my mouth is.
And it's understandable
And it's understandable
that I feel some trepidation about that.
that I feel some trepidation about that.
And even though I feel this fear,
Even though I feel this fear,
I choose to deeply and completely
I choose to deeply and completely
love, honor, and accept myself,
love, honor, and accept myself,
and maybe anyone else who contributes to this fear.
and maybe anyone else that contributes to this fear.
All this fear.
Oh, I just figured out something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is fear of success. It's more subtle though. Um, so um, they tell you to share your dreams and goals with people that will share them with you and not judge you in some way. And I know that my family, well, my daughter is kind of neutral, my sister is behind me, but everybody else is, thinks I'm crazy doing it. And if I fail, then I reinforce what they think.
Yep.
If I don't do it, then I don't have to confirm their feelings. That's crazy. I mean, that's not, I don't mean crazy. I mean, like, very interesting.
Yeah.
That's a really strange form of fear of success, but that's actually what it is.
It's more common than you know.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm processing these fears.
And I'm processing these fears.
All these fears of failure.
All of these fears of failure.
All these fears of success.
All of these fears of success.
As I allow myself to succeed.
As I allow myself to succeed.
That's going to make some people uncomfortable.
That's going to make some people uncomfortable.
And I don't like making people uncomfortable.
And I want to make sure that I don't like like when I am successful, I don't want to be like I told you so kind of. I don't want to go there. So that just popped in my head.
Yeah. And that would come from fear.
Oh, and that would come from fear.
That kind of attitude,
That kind of attitude,
that need for revenge
that need for revenge
comes from fear.
comes from fear.
And look at what I'm doing right now.
And look what I'm doing right now.
I'm clearing my fear
I'm clearing my fear
because I can allow myself to know
because I can allow myself to know
they're doing the best they can.
they're doing the best they can.
They have their own fears.
They have their own fears.
Their fears of what they can and cannot achieve.
Their fears of what they can and cannot achieve.
And my achievement might make them feel uncomfortable.
And my achievement might make them feel uncomfortable
because of their fears.
Because of their fears.
It's not a good reason to stop myself.
Not a good reason to stop myself.
Because their fears aren't real.
Because their fears aren't real.
They're capable of more than they know.
They're capable of more than they know.
And it's very familiar for them.
That sounds familiar. And it's very familiar for them
to see me a certain way.
To see me in a certain way.
And if I'm different,
and if I'm different,
that rocks their boat.
That rocks their boat.
Even if they love me.
Even if they love me.
They'd still rather things stay the same.
They'd still rather things stay the same.
Because they're human.
Because they're human.
So why would I need to rub it in their nose? Why would I need to rub their noses in it?
So why would I need to rub their noses in it?
That they're already feeling fear.
That
they're feeling fear. And I'm clearing that. I'm also clear. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just going to tell you to table this. I want you to help me remember it because I don't want to interrupt what we're doing because this is tangential to what we're doing. But I want to talk to you about Thanksgiving. Did we talk about Thanksgiving at all? No, because I got sick. The one after ones we didn't do.
That's right. That's right.
Just wanted to tell you something, but I'll
okay.
Just
we'll get there. Okay.
Right.
I'm also clearing any need.
I'm also clearing any need.
To be motivated by a need to prove myself.
To be motivated by a need to prove myself.
I'm going to succeed at trading.
I'm going to succeed at trading.
So that I can say I told you so.
So I can say I told you so.
I don't need to do that.
I don't need to do that.
I'm going to succeed at trading.
I'm going to succeed at trading.
Because I'm here to do as much good as I can.
Boy, I like that. Because I'm here to do as much good as I can.
Rubbing people's noses in it.
Rubbing people's noses in it.
Is not who I am.
Is not who I am.
That would only come from fear.
That would only come from fear.
And I'm allowing myself to process those fears.
So the other piece that you can get in this tapping is like letting down. It just came in my head. The gift that God's given me, the ideas that He's planted in me that are going to come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tinge of guilt around like letting Him down and not fulfilling my destiny kind of thing. So anyway, that is definitely, intellectually, I know that's hooey, but it's there.
And I'm processing all of that.
Yeah, I'm processing all of that.
I've been taught to have that thought.
I've been taught to have that thought.
I've been taught to not disappoint God.
I've been taught to not disappoint God.
It's what the 10 Commandments are all about.
What the 10 Commandments are all about.
Don't disappoint God.
Don't disappoint God.
And I'm processing all these fears.
And I'm processing all of these fears.
God knows what I'm dealing with.
God knows what I'm dealing with.
God knows what I'm capable of.
God knows what I'm capable of.
I'm open to the possibility.
I'm open to the possibility.
God doesn't do disappointment.
God doesn't do disappointment.
The Bible says
The Bible says
God created man in his image.
God created man in his image.
And we return the favor.
And we return the favor.
We create a God in our human image.
We create a God in our human image.
With our petty desires.
With our petty desires.
And our frustrations.
And our frustrations.
I'm letting that go.
I'm letting that go.
I choose to know.
I'm just ruminating a little bit on what you just said a bit ago. It's a very interesting concept about creating a God. And that's really interesting. So anyway.
Yeah, we return the favor. We create God in our likeness and give God all of our petty human qualities. And it's like, yeah, God doesn't God doesn't do guilt and shame and all of that stuff.
Well, and I don't want this to come from a place of guilt and shame, but which master are you going to serve? It's like he's love and peace and joy and abundance and all of those things, and choosing God that we enthrone is just the opposite of that. It's not like we're evil or anything like that. It's a choice that's not creates anxiety and fear and lack of abundance and all the opposite of what he wants for us.
But it makes people manipulative or easily manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
If you can convince people that they are always in danger of upsetting God and they're always in danger of going to hell, then you've got them in your hands.
Right.
And it doesn't jive with what the Bible says. Jesus says, go forth and sin no more. He doesn't say feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
He says, I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. So many of the teachings, the shameful teachings that we have from religion, it's like, where exactly is that? It's like, don't you even look. You don't know. You're lesser. You're this, because they want to have authority. It's and they're doing the best they can given their programming. So it's just a matter of saying, I'm not going to play that game.
Right.
I have God-given qualities and I want to use them to make the difference that I can make for myself and others. Mm-hmm. And I can have compassion for other people who aren't there yet, including the people that want to say you're crazy. It's like, why is it any more crazy for you to succeed than anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
And they might say, well, because of, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. It's like, right, because I didn't realize I could. That's like looking at you at a year old and saying, don't even bother standing up, Chucky. You can't walk. You've never walked before. And yet you did. So they're looking at you like a 1-year-old who hasn't walked yet because you weren't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm clearing what keeps me from being ready.
And I'm clearing what keeps me from being ready.
I'm ready to see what I can do.
I'm ready to see what I can do.
I'm ready to see who I can be.
I'm ready to see who I can be.
I'm ready to serve God.
I'm ready to serve God.
In ways that I couldn't before.
In ways that I couldn't before.
I'm ready to serve other people
I'm ready to serve other people
in ways that I couldn't before.
in ways that I couldn't before.
And it's scary at times.
And it's scary at times.
And I love and forgive myself
And I love and forgive myself
for being scared sometimes,
for being scared sometimes.
including these last few weeks.
See, that's a big point right there, because that's what I want to bury. Is I don't like what did you just say? Love and forgive myself for. I just need to be more in that realm. It's like I've gotten a lot better at that, and I have a big area of growth of just, well, curiosity is part of that, but also just judgment can be subtle, and I think that I've done some of that, and if my curiosity would have come into the equation, then I could have just said, just those are habits that's why we're working on this, is to break them, and not get too busy about it. And I think I am. I'm trying to. It's like, there you go, doing it again. Yeah. As opposed to saying, the other side of that coin is that how much more effective, competent, whatever word you want to say, of doing the opposite of that, of being productive, of having less anxiety, of just acknowledge where you're at, no guilt, no shame, and grow. So anyway,
Progress, not perfection.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Always progress, not perfection.
Right. It's funny, I used to tell my volleyball girls this all the time. I was talking to, I think, my daughter maybe, or my sister, one of the two. It was my sister. She does different work, but we're both kind of seekers. And I think of all the things that you've told me that I've told to people that I've worked with, particularly volleyball players, because I've worked with lots of them, but also, just people that I've worked with. And, it's certainly not that I don't know. My best friend said, "Oh, it's all about self-control." And I said, "No, he said it's all about self-awareness." I said, "No, self-awareness by itself is a formula for disaster, depression. Because if you don't have self-control, and you know what not to do, and you don't have self-control, self-awareness is useless."
Right. But you can't get to self-control without that. You need both.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
It's like faith without works is dead.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah. But it's, again, remembering progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
And that might be one of my fears.
And that might be one of my fears.
Because I expect that not every trait is going to be perfect.
That not every trait is going to be perfect.
And I'm afraid of how I'll think of myself.
And so here, this is a big one. And this is the first one I'm going to set up. As a matter of fact, soon after we get off the call, because this has been a trap for me. Is number one, I'm going to lose money, and number two, my trades aren't going to be perfect. And even if I check all the boxes, they're not perfect. One, because the market is not a definable. You have to go in and say, it has tendencies, but what would be the word that's above that? That would be always the same way. The market's not like that. but also there's so many different techniques. You have to choose ones that you think, you could call it trading style. You have a way that you trade, you work that style, you evaluate the style to make sure that it's, and continue to learn to make sure it's the most effective. And then you just accept it and move on and go to the next trade. So anyway, I'm going to visit that.
It's like, we look at, the home run kings in baseball. Babe Ruth struck out how many times?
1,000.
Yeah. More times than he got.
Yeah. More time. Yeah, it was more than 1,000. That was a different
Thomas Edison.
Michael Jordan lost 1,000 games. Babe Ruth, he missed 1,000 game-winning shots or something like that. But Babe Ruth had to have been a lot more than 1,000 because he was up to bat. So he struck out a lot.
Yeah, he struck out more times than he got home runs, more times than he got on base. But he's still recognized as one of the great home run kings
ever. Yeah.
And he could not have done that if he walked up to the plate every time going, boy, I'm going to have to beat myself up if I strike out.
Yeah.
Edison would not have invented the light bulb if 1,000 times he said, I'm such a failure.
Yeah.
It's just, Warren Buffett doesn't make money on every single trade.
Right.
So it's just recognizing and making this agreement. It's like, I'm going to have it. There's going to be a part of me that wants to shame me because we have been taught this. Mm-hmm. When we get things wrong, when we don't get an A+ on the test, you only got a 99 out of 100, can't feel too good about yourself. And so recognizing that's total BS, that's not realistic, that's somebody else's style, that's their teaching style. You have a trading style, people have teaching styles. And most of the teaching styles out there are not healthy.
Yeah, laced with red.
So being able to look at that and go, in order to learn, I cannot trade successfully unless I trade. And I cannot trade if I have this expectation of doing it perfectly every single time, because it's not realistic. So, and this idea that, and if I don't do it perfectly, I need to beat myself up, I need to shame myself. It's like, no, I just look at it and go, what happened there? So Babe Ruth looking at it and going, oh, did I swing too fast? Did I swing too slow? Did I go too high? Just analyzing it and looking at what didn't happen there so I can do it better the next time.
Right. The only thing that I have to do, like the expectation of perfection, and with the occasional bouts of forgiveness, I guess, you have to set a stop loss.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't do that, then you could lose your whole account.
Right.
It could happen. It happens like every day. They trade the news. The news happens, like today, unemployment, and there was 3 or 4 different, news that's called in the red. And that's the 2 things that you can't do. One, you can't trade during the news because it dropped 100 pips in a second. And that if I'm trading full bore, that's $1,000. But you may not even be able to stop it. It went right past your stop loss because it can go past your stop loss. So that's the two like must, no negotiation or anything. You have to set a stop loss, and you never trade during like 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after news comes out.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah. So you set the strategies, but you give yourself permission to take the emotion out of that. So it's not set a stop loss out of fear. we had this idea. So I need to scare myself to be able to make good choices, except that a scared mind does not make the best choices because your prefrontal cortex is gone. So it's like crossing the street. I'm going to go to the street. I'm going to look both ways. I'm going to watch to see if it's a red man or a green man and whether, but I don't need to get into a panic. I don't need to think about the fear of getting hit by a car.
Just matter of fact. It's just a matter of fact.
It's just a matter of fact. It's like, yeah, I take these strategies. Oh, the news is happening. I'm not trading right now. Got my stop loss in order. You have it up on your to-do list. You've got your checklist.
Right. Yeah, that's the first one that'll have up there. The first thing in the day, check the news, set alarms for, to go off when that happens, or 15 minutes before it happens. And then the first thing I do in my checklist, that I set up a stop loss. Yep. And then, like I said, it's just a matter of fact after that.
Yeah. And allowing yourself to feel good about, I'm working my strategy. When Babe Ruth steps up to the plate, he works his strategy. It's not always going to result in a hit. It's definitely not going to always result in a home run. But he knows I'm working my strategy. And sometimes because of something beyond my control, it's not going to be perfect. And I might pop a fly ball out to center field, or I might hit a foul ball, or I might just strike out, swing and a miss. And that's it. But I learn from every time, and I wait until I'm up again. And then it's like, okay, let me give it another shot.
Yeah, the couple of times the occasional time, I should say, that the market does something that's against the trend of what it usually does. If you set up a good stop loss, that's why you have a stop loss.
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose. You just will.
So, and just allowing yourself to say, and I'm going to be compassionate with myself in those times and go, okay, what do I learn here? Because there's two kinds of moments. Ultimately, there's winning moments and there's learning moments or growing moments. If you allow yourself to learn and grow, that's a winning moment too. So ultimately you can look at it and go, it's always a win-win situation. We're not taught that. We're taught to feel bad about losing, but it's like, did I lose or did I learn something? So if you heard the expression, if you lose, don't lose the lesson.
Some people used to say, or still do, that some people believe there's lessons in sports and some people believe that they're not. And I said, no, one is you have a lesson that you actually learn from. The other one is a lesson that you learn from, like the Mack truck upside the face.
Yeah.
If you don't have some intentionality about it, then you're going to learn a lesson for sure.
Yeah. But giving yourself permission to go, I'm going to work my strategy and I'm going to learn from everything. And I'm going to get better and better. And that's where you can experience the joys of trading, because I'm taking out the need to make it painful. Because so many people come into it with this, well, there's going to be loss, and loss is always painful. And allowing yourself to say, no, you win some, you lose some. And, but I can always gain. I can always make it a positive thing. I can work my strategy. And even if I, swing and a miss, it's like, all right, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to grow from this. And next time I'm up at bat, I'm going to do better.
Yeah. Those fences that are real close to you when the catcher, when they're catching the ball and they have a fence, especially at younger ages, that's pretty close to you. So you miss a ball and it almost bounces right back to you. If you set yourself up right, that's what a mistake is like, versus those ones that are, like 20 feet back and you're never going to throw that guy out at second. Set yourself up with a short fence. That's what I think. Because like this whole psychological stuff that I'm going to be engaged in, I told you about that one call that I listened to, and I listen to them every time, and they almost celebrate inefficiency or like, oh, that's just the way I am. See, that's what, I want to avoid saying that. I'm not going to use I am in front of the word perfectionist. I have a tendency to set myself up with perfectionist expectations, and I'm ridding myself of that.
I have in the past.
I have in the past thing. And yeah, and so my checkoff sheet, that's just that sounds like a perfectionist thing to do, but it's just the opposite of it. I'm taking my subconscious mind out of the equation. It still kind of amazes me that there's this psychological part of trading. When they first talked about it, I thought that's nonsense. You just do what needs to be done. And then I caught myself doing this stuff. I caught myself, making excuses and, trying to make up for the last trade or whatever. So anyway, it does exist.
And that's the key. And that's what we're up to, is just being able to go, that's not necessary. That's just old programming. That's old human programming. That's old guilt and shame and fear from the past and other people's misunderstandings about you. And, and looking at what these other people are saying, and going, they don't know who I am.
Mm-hmm. That is for sure. My family has never gotten me. That is for sure. And that's okay.
And we can be honest and look at, I've given them, there are times where I've given them reason to do that.
Guilty charge, yes, indeed.
You can be guilty without feeling guilt, and go and just recognize that I was doing what I thought I needed to do at that time.
Yes.
And just because family members don't think you have what it takes doesn't mean it's true. Trust me.
Well, and
no one in my family expected me to amount to much.
Yeah.
So
well, and my I have a series of failures. For me, I've learned from them, but perceived by other people, and if I was in their shoes, I'd be thinking the same thing. Well, Chuck's just up to his own same old thing, and so that's what I've learned and grown, and I'm doing this, and I'm setting myself up for success, joyful success.
Yeah. And allowing yourself to know it's okay to succeed.
Yes, it's okay.
Even if that disappoints other people, because it throws off their perception.
Yeah.
Because people love to be right. And if you prove them wrong, they may love you and want the best for you, but they still don't want to be proven wrong. And you're like, I'm not in it to prove you wrong. You are wrong. and I'm gonna prove that, but not because I have to, not out of some kind of revenge or anything, but because I want to be who God created me to be. I don't want to be that a statue stuck inside the marble anymore. I want to reveal the masterpiece.
Now, what was wonderful about that moment is I've got some tears in my eye, but they're totally tears of joy. I know He has plans for me, and
of course you do. We wouldn't be talking if you didn't.
No, I'm just saying. I was trying to think of that scripture. I think it's in Hebrews about He has plans for you to prosper, and you've said it before, so I think you have it committed to memory, don't you? Plans to prosper, plans to.
No, I don't. I know which one you're talking about. God has, only wants the best for you and has plans to.
He's kind of foreordained your path in some way. I'm a little uncomfortable with that word foreordained. I kind of, I believe we have the choice, and we
Yes,
can.
we have free will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I got pretty little moisture in my eyes there of joy.
Yeah. It's exciting when we allow ourselves to be aware of what you know. And Jesus said, I came that they might have life and have it abundantly.
Yes, yes.
You know, people get all caught up in the idea that Jesus said, be poor. It's like, it's not what he said.
I'm honestly thinking about. I love the people in my church, but they like something comes up and they've always got to talk about the prosperity gospel. I said, you got to remember there's the prosperity gospel, and that's real. It's not a good thing. I said, there's also a scarcity gospel, and that's not a good thing either.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the problem is neither one of them is with God, you know.
Yep.
Like the eye of the needle, you know, the camel gets down on its knees and crawls through the gate.
Without its packs on it.
Yeah,
It cannot get through with the packs on.
I've never heard that one before. So
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I love that image of
Yeah.
the naked camel on its knees.
That's just the idea. The eye of the needle was a gate in the wall of Jerusalem that was too narrow for a camel to walk through with packs on it. So they had to take the packs off the camel to go through. It's big, and it's the same as when Jesus, the young man who says, what would it take to follow you? And Jesus says, give away all your belongings.
Mm-hmm.
And it disappointed the young man because he was wealthy. It's not.
But he wasn't giving away his belongings. He was giving away his control.
Yeah. It's the attachment. It's letting go of the attachment to your wealth.
Put a God before me, and I'm going to ask you to get rid of it. And for some people, it might mean that they go to baseball games, or they may play video games too much, or it's not about what you're doing. It's about your heart, and, you know. Yeah. So that's just anyway.
Yeah. God, the world is too beautiful and abundant to believe that God's expectation and desire for us is to experience lack. And so, you know, but it's a matter of not being attached and not putting the wealth before God. And that's what the message that Jesus gave. Jesus had friends who were wealthy.
Yeah.
You know, and allowed the occasional extravagance, you know, when the breaking the perfume over his hair, and
his feet, the one that did it to his feet as well.
Yeah. So
yeah.
All right, do you have time for a guide imagery?
I sure do.
All right, get yourself comfortable. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Another deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. A third deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Now just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed. Breathing comfortably, and just imagine that with each breath you take in, you breathe in relaxation and positive energy. Go ahead and imagine a healing light of whatever color you like surrounding your body, so that with each breath you take in, your lungs comfortably draw in that healing light, allowing it to flow through every muscle, nerve, fiber, tissue, cell, and atom of your body. Imagine a healing shower flowing down crystal clear water that's a perfect temperature as it flows over the top of your head, soothing and relaxing your scalp, washing away fear, doubt, anxiety, washing away anger, sadness, guilt, shame, washing away pain, frustration, disappointment, embarrassment, washing these away to reveal the light that you truly are. This unique expression of divine light and love. Allowing more and more of that light to be revealed as that healing shower flows over your forehead, relaxing the muscles in your face. Flowing down over the back of your head, your neck, your shoulders, washing away tension. Leaving your shoulders calm, comfortable, and relaxed. Healing shower flowing down your arms, all the way down over your fingertips, down over your chest and your stomach, soothing and relaxing, healing and cleansing. and allowing yourself to remain comfortably in whatever position you choose. Allow that healing shower to flow down over your upper and lower back. And as your torso relaxes, your internal organs comfortably do whatever they need to do to achieve and maintain your optimal level of health and well-being in body, mind, and spirit. As that healing shower continues down over your body, down over your hips and your thighs, over your knees, down your lower legs, through your ankles, into your feet. And finally, that relaxation flows over your toes as you allow yourself to relax twice as much, going at least twice as deep with each number as I count backwards. 5, drifting down to 4, floating down to 3, 2, 1, and 0 is deep sleep. Deeper, deeper. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 is deep sleep. And in this calm, comfortable state of mind and body, go ahead and imagine yourself in some really beautiful place. Some place where you allow yourself to be present to the beauty, the magnificence, the abundance of God's creation. And allow yourself to feel God's loving presence, letting you know it's here for you, Chuck, as much as anyone else. This beauty, this magnificence, this abundance is your birthright. And just notice any resistance, any part of you, any old part of you that says, well, I couldn't or shouldn't because other people expect that I couldn't or shouldn't. And just feel God's loving presence just melting that resistance away. Being absolutely compassionate with all of those parts of you that have limited your performance in the past, that have limited your results. And allow yourself to know that God isn't disappointed in you for that. God is excited for what you are moving towards. Really allowing yourself to be compassionate with yourself for the limiting beliefs of the past, the limited behavior of the past, and the limiting beliefs of the people around you. It's sad that they're not able to see your possibilities. And they may be afraid to because they don't want to be disappointed. A lot of people are trying to live high on lowered expectations. So allowing yourself to just let compassion melt away those old fears. Allowing yourself to know that who you've been in the past does not define who you really are. Because who you really are is a magnificent child of God, capable of amazing things, worthy and deserving of the best this world has to offer. And part of you knows that there is nothing that is too good for you. That doesn't mean you need to set up expectations that you judge yourself by. It's not setting yourself up for disappointment. It's just a matter of saying, I'm moving forward. I choose to see who God really made me to be. Allowing yourself to gently and compassionately release anything that doesn't feel like love, joy, peace. And then that's all you have to send to other people as they struggle with their fears and doubts. Just allowing yourself to keep moving forward, being compassionate with yourself, recognizing that not every day is a sunny day. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it snows, sometimes it's windy. But up above the clouds, the sun is always shining. So as you imagine trading, recognizing, yeah, there's going to be weather. But God's love, like the sun, is always there shining. And it may be stormy today, but you're going to get through it. And the sun always comes out again. Allowing yourself to have that faith so that you can allow yourself to really feel joy as you move forward. Giving yourself permission to do that as we go even deeper now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 is deep sleep. In a moment, I'll count you back out from 0 up to 5. 5 will be wide awake, alert, focused, and energetic, feeling much better than before. Feeling much more confident in yourself. Much more confident in your ability to feel peace and calm confidence while you're trading or going through any other part of your life. Allowing yourself to feel more and more confidence in the masterpiece that's inside. Tonight, when you choose to go to sleep, don't be surprised when you fall asleep quickly, soundly, deeply, and sleep very well through the night. During the night, you'll dream. The more you dream, the stronger you become. I'm going to ask your unconscious mind to allow at least one of your dreams to be a very healing dream. Continuing this healing process in body, mind, and spirit so that in the morning, at the time you've chosen to wake up, you wake up easily, feeling refreshed, energetic, and ready to start the day again, powerfully moving forward into that ever more joyful experience of an ever greater abundance of health, wealth, happiness, and love, which are your birthright and which benefit others. Now go back down to 0, which is always deep sleep, allowing your mind, body, and spirit to digest all these positive thoughts and images, taking them in at a very deep level so that these positive changes occur easily, effortlessly, and naturally. Coming up to 1, feeling physically relaxed. 2, feeling emotionally confident. 3, health and well-being, enthusiasm, love, joy, and gratitude flowing through every muscle, nerve, fiber, tissue, cell, and atom of your body. 4, becoming more and more alert and aware of your surroundings. And 5 is eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. Welcome back.
One thing that you said that popped an image in my mind was that my family just wants what's best for me.
Yep.
And they're wrong. And that's okay. But it's not a judgment or guilt. Oh, you've never done this before, and you're trying it again, you're wasting your money, whatever. But the bottom line is behind their opinion is just that they love me and don't want me to, not succeed in life.
Right. It's hard to watch someone you care about fall down. And so there's an inclination to say, just stay down. Don't stand up again. You always fall down. But we would never do that to a baby.
No. Mm-mm.
It's learning to walk. It's like, Junior, just you keep falling down. Just stay down. Just crawl. Resign yourself to being a crawler. But they don't see that that's what they're doing now. And they can't.
It's so commonplace that
Absolutely.
It's unreal. I saw this guy, his kid was taking a little kid cart out of the grocery store, and there was like a cattle trough down there, and the kid was trying to get his cart over, and his dad just was narrating this, and he just let him do it. And the kid, I'm talking about, I don't know how long it was, but it was a significant amount of time that the dad just sat there and filmed and says, "Look, I'm not going to rescue him. He's going to figure out how to do this." And he did. It was amazing how long people were just walking by and just going around him. But I thought that was pretty cool. I can do that to myself too. Huh?
Absolutely. It's having that faith that the masterpiece is in there, and just recognizing some people don't have that patience because of their own fears. And it's been hard for them to see you fall in the past or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they had their fears like, yeah, I'm still going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to find out. And I have this one life and I'm going to make the most of it. And I'm not going to decide, well, I'm at this certain age and that's all the time I have to be able to. It's like, there are people older than you that, Colonel Sanders. And I mean, there's all these stories of people who didn't, make their mark until, 60s,
Amos
70s.
Amos was, famous Amos Cookies. He was pretty old when he brought his cookies out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that the black lady that had some cookies too, she was pretty old when she brought hers out. But anyway, yeah, it can be done.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It
just
will,
being
it will
patient,
be.
being patient with those people who can't see it. And it's going, I get it. They don't want to see you. It's the old line of don't get your hopes up.
Right. And, I'm just going to be in gratitude for them that they love me
Yep.
and want to protect me and just move on and not feel put down by it, number one, but also just,
Yeah.
celebrate their love and not turn it into gratitude,
Yeah. And recognizing, being able to look at their low expectations of you and being able to acknowledge, okay, I've earned that because of some things I've done in the past,
Yes.
but
Yes.
not because I'm not good enough,
No.
but because I played a part that I wasn't meant to play.
Yeah.
So they are thinking that who you have been is who you really are. And so they don't know, they're not able to see any more than that because most humans can't see, the masterpiece inside the marble. So just recognizing, hey, I look at what my sister's fears of, what I was going to achieve or not achieve. And yeah, I earned that, but that's not who I was. That's who my fear was making me be. So you just
I
recognize,
would imagine people question you about going into this field. You were a hypnotist first. Is that what it
yeah,
was?
I was an actor, and then I went in, and then I became a hypnotherapist, and then I went into tapping. Yeah.
Uh, all
So
righty, Brad. Thanks so much. Welcome back.
thank you. You too.
Yeah.
Welcome back to you too. After a couple of weeks of,
Yeah.
get back on that habit tracker. Don't
Yeah.
shame yourself, but just use it to look at, okay, if I didn't check that box, why not? Is there fear? Or is it, well, you know what? I was not feeling up to it today, but that's okay. But not, but still giving that to yourself as something to aspire to.
All
All right.
righty. Thank you.
Cool. You take care.
You too. Bye bye.